The federal government is giving up, for now, on the OSHA testing and vaccination mandate for employees at companies with more than 100 employees. I told you in this video, the Supreme Court ruled the specific way OSHA was trying to implement the mandate through the emergency temporary standard was not legal and that enforcement must be blocked while the case continued to play out in lower court. Well, today, the federal government filed this document, conceding they probably eventually lose the lower court case. And as of tomorrow, the OSHA testing or vaccination ETS will be withdrawn from the Federal Register. Bottom line, it's going away. The government then goes on to ask the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals to just drop the case. Now, there is one little footnote in that document that says the government will continue to work on a permanent rule based on the vaccine or testing ETS, but there's no time frame for when that will happen or what it will actually look like. So what does it mean for you? Your employer cannot use the OSHA vaccine or testing mandate as justification for you to be vaccinated or tested. However, your employer can absolutely legally mandate a vaccine or testing policy as a term of your employment, regardless of what OSHA says. The only way they would not be able to do that is if there was some rule or law or order in your state that explicitly bans such mandates. Are we about to go to war of this whole Russia-Ukraine thing? I'm going to get to that in a second, but first let me explain what's going on. Here are the facts. The United States sent a fresh shipment of weapons to Ukraine today, and the Pentagon announced yesterday up to 8,500 U.S. troops are now on high alert for possible deployment to Eastern Europe. That's in addition to the NATO allies who are readying their troops and equipment in support of Ukraine. This comes as Russia continues to mass more than 100,000 troops along the Ukraine border, even after weeks of negotiation with the Russians and even direct communication between President Biden and Vladimir Putin. So far, there's no standing down. Russia denies it's planning to invade Ukraine, but it certainly appears an invasion could come soon. So why should we care? First, let me explain where this is all going down. Obviously, there is Russia and here is Ukraine, and all of those troops are stationed along these borders right here. Now, invading this part of the world isn't new to Russia. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea. Annex, invade. Tomato, tomato. Now, back to why Americans should care about Ukraine and what Russia is doing there. There are a lot of moving chess pieces here, so hang on. Vladimir Putin believes Ukraine belongs to Russia. By all accounts, if Russia invades Ukraine, that would start a snowball effect that could ultimately destabilize Europe, which would significantly impact and maybe even endanger our NATO allies. The United States, of course, has a NATO obligation under Article 5 of the NATO Treaty to defend its allies. And if you are wondering how the U.S. Congress feels about Ukraine, for years, Congress has approved bipartisan bills supporting robust military and other assistance to Ukraine. Now, back to Vladimir Putin. He has been on a mission to dominate that part of the world, and he has made no secret that he is willing to assert his authority either by force, military, cyber, or through Russian oil and gas exports. What he doesn't want is for Ukraine and other neighboring countries to have the ability to join NATO, thereby diminishing his power and influence in that part of the world. Nor does he want NATO expanding its footprint in that part of the world. He also wants NATO to abandon any military activity in Eastern Europe. The United States and NATO member countries don't really believe that Vladimir Putin gets to make those decisions. So, are we going to war? Not yet. Maybe not at all. It's important to understand the U.S. government and other NATO allies like France and the UK continue to say diplomatic options are still on the table if Russia is willing to play ball.